What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. Hey man, I want to talk to you guys today about Math Hoffa and the ongoing split that's happening on the My Expert Opinion podcast. It was just recently revealed that Esso and Hynaken of the show will no longer be a part of the podcast as it stands. They said that they were asked not to return. And I just want to get into all of the details that have been exposed thus far. Of course, there is probably a lot of information that we're not privy to because the guys have not come out and just openly spoke on everything. But Esso and Hynaken have released the episode of a podcast where they kind of went into their perspective of the situation. Joe Budden called Math Hoffa during the episode of his podcast, the Joe Budden podcast, and spoke to Math about it. Math has his perspective of the situation. I want to try to break down everybody's that's been revealed thus far and kind of get into why it seems that black podcasts, when money starts getting involved, they always seem to go down. You get a good year or two out of it, you know what I'm saying, during the building process, but then as soon as the bag comes into play, everything seems to crumble. So apparently, Esso and Hynaken are saying that they haven't really spoken to Math Hoffa very much in the process of the last 2 months, month and a half to 2 months. They say he told them not to come in to be a part of the Rich Homie Quan interview. That may have been the last episode that they actually took part in, because they have the new episode out with Derrick Rose, which I was extremely excited to see. When I saw that they had posted like a little snippet that he was going to be on the show, I was like, oh wow, they got D Rose up there. This is going to be dope. The first clip of the interview drops and you could tell right off the bat, everything is different. The camera is different. The sound, the audio is different. The people in the room, you know what I mean? It's like Math Hoffa, Bigger, Mecca, and some other cats you don't even know who they are. So off rip, you notice Esso's not there. You notice Hynaken's not there. I didn't quite understand it, but I knew off rip, like, this doesn't look right to me. It was actually painful to watch the episode because the camera angles are so jarringly different and the audio is nowhere up to par with the way that the show has been conducted up to this point. Basically getting audio from 6 people in the middle of a barbershop, which is already not acoustically the best environment to be doing a podcast. In this reveal with Hynaken and Esso, you also find out that Space Ghost, who is the audio visual director of the Math Hoffa podcast, he edits the audio, he edits the visuals, he is the cameraman. So all of the production value that's in that podcast is handled by Space Ghost. Math Hoffa allegedly asked all of these guys not to come in. Matter of fact, you don't come back because you don't do nothing but edit video anyway. Basically saying, I could get anybody to come in and replace you, do your job, I don't need you. And when you start talking to people like that, it definitely is going to create an issue. Hynaken Esso. Hynaken says Math Hoffa told them to stop coming in. He don't need them. They don't bring anything of value. They're not relevant to the podcast. Esso can only relay what Math Hoffa told to Hynaken because Esso says he hasn't spoken to Math in about a month. He says the last time he spoke to him, he told him not to come in, and Math never contacted him, never texted him, never called to give him a return date to come back in to resume conducting interviews. A lot of other banter was going on. If you want to check that out, just put Esso Hynaken Math Hoffa in on YouTube. You'll find more details coming from their mouths, right? Reportedly, Revolt wants to do a deal with Math Hoffa, and they're saying that they're offering him 2.5 or 2.7 million, somewhere in the upwards of $3 million to bring the My Expert Opinion podcast over to Revolt TV. Esso is saying that he's actually the one that brokered the opportunity to even come to fruition because the folks over at Revolt know him based on his relationship and based on his, he was a music manager for many years in the music industry. So he's got a lot of relationships, got a lot of people that he's worked with, a lot of reputable people that came on the show on behalf of Esso's relationship. Yo, the fact that Revolt is even in conversation with this guy is because I worked a couple moves to bring people's awareness to the show. And I think the original person that he brought to the fold, you know, ended up not offering them a deal. However, over the course of the last year or the last 8 months, you know, the radar has been on them, and now Revolt is trying to come back and put an offer on the table. But supposedly this money is mainly going to Math Hoffa. Now, like I said, Joe Budden actually called Math. He was able to say a portion of his side of the story, and he was basically saying, I don't know where this is coming from. This number that they throwing out, 3 million, 2.7 million, we haven't even gotten that far in the negotiation process for this number to be looming around. And he was saying that when Revolt or any other potential networks came to him, they only were really interested in Math himself. He's claiming that he had to fight for the rest of the cast and the rest of the co-hosts to even be mentioned in the negotiation process. He says he's been doing nothing but fighting for them because these companies really have not been interested in them in particular. I don't know how accurate that is, man. I feel like when you have a 5-man cast, and everybody plays an equal role. Yeah, you are the conductor of the show. It is your name on the show, so you're the executive producer and primary host. But let's be honest, my expert opinion was not that great of a show until Hynaken and Esso came, Sean Bigger came. You know what I mean? It used to be like an exclusive place to get into the mind of battle rappers, and I'm not gonna say it was a terrible show. It was dope to actually get to see battle rappers as regular people, you know what I'm saying, talking to each other in the essence of being human beings rather than just always being competitive and doing battles or doing face-offs, just endless bravado. It was cool to hear stories of when people were struggling or hear backstories behind what led up to this battle or what led up to this occasion or whatever the case was. That was great within itself, but they were not getting A-list guests on the show for a while. You know what I mean? There was definitely a time where you could noticeably tell, okay, they're elevating. And that was with Hynaken, Sean Bigger, Esso, and of course, with the help of Space Ghost being the guy that's directing it. Math says all of these rumors are unfounded. He doesn't understand. And he's like, yo, y'all keep talking about all this money. It's not in my bank account. I've gotten no money. I've accepted no official deal. These guys are blatantly lying. And he says that he's been trying to contact them for the last month and a half. He says he even wants to reveal the evidence, the text messages and screenshots of him trying to get back in contact with them. He feels like he's been chasing them down like a girl. And then he goes on to say at this point, he has no interest in rekindling their friendship. He says he doesn't feel like there was ever a friendship if this is how they treat him. He says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I will never allow you to get that second chance. So at this current moment, it seems like there are irreconcilable differences between all parties, and the show will probably continue in its current format with Math Hoffa, Sean Bigger, and Mecca. And I guess there will be some ancillary guests that come in here and there and fill in those shoes. I don't know if he's going to get some other people to come in and be full-time hosts like he did before. But just remember, like I said, the original Math Hoffa cast was Misfit and some other folks. I don't even remember. They were there for the first year or so. They fizzled out. Nobody really knows what happened with them. Esso said that Misfit and the other host basically got phased out the same way that they're currently being phased out. And they're starting to see Math Hoffa's true character, that it's really all about him. And I hate to see it, man. I think that this is something that permeates even deeper than just podcasts. It just seems that whenever us as black people go into business, we come in with the idea of friendship, family, loyalty, and that idea only seems to last for so long. Once money starts getting into the picture, once the ad money starts getting bigger, once companies start coming in trying to invest and want to buy the show or want to bring it to a network and sign contracts, that's when everything seems to go funny. Now, I'm not saying that they don't know business, because all of them had their own individual business dealings in the past. Hynaken used to work for This Is 50. Esso, like I said, was a music manager for many years, and he brought excellent perspective about the music industry to the podcast, which actually was part of the reason why I continued to tune in over the course of the last year. Math Hoffa, of course, as we know, is a legendary battle rapper. He's made a lot of money in battle rap, but I'm sure he's making more money now doing YouTube than he ever made in battle rap collectively. I don't know Bigger's background, but I do know Mecca is a journalist, and he's also part of the team for Busta Rhymes and other artists. He helps develop artists and things like that. So he does have some understanding of business and the behind the scenes workings of things as well. So unfortunately, I just hate to see this happen. It happens so many times. We saw with the Joe Budden podcast. Once the money really started becoming a conversation, Rory and Mal left. When Joe Budden started getting, more offers and doing Patreon, getting offered positions at these different companies. The Joe Budden network that he was building with the additional podcasts that he was adding to his channel and to his network, all of a sudden those podcasts started going in other directions, leaving the Joe Budden network. Trying to understand exactly what the Black Effect is in terms of Charlemagne and how he's sponsoring and bringing other podcasts into his network. It seems like very murky waters, and it's easy for things to go right, left, or indifferent because not everybody understands the business of podcasting. I think that that's like the real issue is podcasting is still relatively new. It's something that's only been going on for, really about 10 years, but people have really been interacting in the space for about 5 or 6. So it's kind of tough when you're trying to negotiate the future of a show and you really don't know how you're going to get paid. Advertising plays a part. That marketing dollars play a part in just like elevating the brand. But what is the breakdown of how a podcast succeeds long term? I don't think we've really seen how that looks just yet. Everybody's figuring it out as they go. I think it's all unfortunate. However, I will say if the Math Hoffa podcast, my expert opinion, continues to trend the way that it's going, I may not be tuning in very much longer. Not because I don't like math. I think math is dope. But you lost 2 key members. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Hynaken. I felt like Esso brought the most value to the show because he was the one that could engage with artists, executives, and people that work in business on a molecular intellectual level. And everybody serves their purpose on the podcast. So when you start mixing and mingling and changing and erasing and all of that type of stuff, it will definitely negatively impact the product. But now I'm going to leave it up to you guys, man. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Are you going to continue to support my expert opinion with Math Hoffa? Do you want to see what's going on more so with Esso and Hynaken? They got the new podcast, Bag Fuel. They got a couple podcasts going on, as a matter of fact. And not to mention, Math Hoffa said that them starting their own show is against the contract that they signed. If you really want to see your team win, why can't they do their own show outside of what they're doing with you? Especially when the show is on your YouTube channel. Why can't they have their own YouTube channel? The issue that arose between Joe Budden with Rory and Mal was that they didn't want to start their own YouTube channel, and he was trying to get them to branch out and do other things and add it to the network. They didn't want to do it at the time, but then once they fell out over money, accounting, and all of that stuff, first thing that they did was go create their own channel and get it popping that way. So you should want to see your team win. All of it seems a little murky, and like I said in the beginning, it seems like everybody's holding back some information. It's still not been fully revealed what the problem is or why they even got asked not to return to do a certain interview. All of that seems weird to me. But like I said, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, man. Be sure to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel if this is your first time seeing me, or if you've just been watching my content and haven't subscribed yet, quit playing with me, bruh. Go ahead and hit that button, hit the post notification bell for all updates, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right? Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.